A short and concise text from the Bible, but it's loaded with meaning and it answers all my questions in life. The man said to me 2 days ago when I met him, I studied world religion in the university. I went to Mexico for a missionary work, but I get messed with beer and women. And now I don't have a brain. I don't have a job, and I don't have a family. I don't deserve this. And he hates God. Misdirected conception of an individual. It's a problem. And that kind of situation is just an example of the many problems around us. But thank be to God, there's still a miracle. And miracles today is still happening. So our text for today, or the sermon for today, is entitled, Nothing is Impossible with God. And the text is found in Mark chapter 10, verse 27. How I wish that this is always the theme of our worship. Just to let us remember that nothing is impossible with God. Life is so complicated that sometimes we're lost. And we make secondary the primary. And the primary is secondary. I have presented to you the last time when I stood up here the evidence of how God works, and that the statement of Jesus Christ made true. Nothing is impossible with God. When we get into that island, in one of the islands in the Philippines, I never thought that many will decide to accept Jesus Christ. But the work is of God. The Holy Spirit is the one that is working in the heart. He's using many instruments in order to influence people to accept Jesus Christ. And in the Bible, we are told, as Adam said, that children are very important in the sight of God. And one day, one of my grandson said to his brother, "How I wish I will always be like this, a child." So opposite to what the answer of Sister Sheila when Brother Adam said, "Who among you likes to be 7 years old?" And she said, "No, I don't like 7." But my grandson said, "How I wish I will be like this forever." And he gave a reason, because I will not die. So he was thinking that when he's a child and live always as a child, he will never die. Because he always sees is that people, old people, are dying. And so he said, "I wanted to stay as a child." Jesus Christ tried to boast the age level of these children when in Mark chapter 8, he made mention that don't suffer the little children to come unto me, and don't prevent them. Let them come. Don't prevent them from coming. And a short Vacation Bible School video will give us an appreciation of how the Lord love the little children, because children are important to Him. Amen. Let's look at that. finish the program in the evening, we give them snacks, food, the vitamin. And you know the island, people there are starving. The place is so hot, and the means of livelihood is mostly fishing. But when the sea is rough, nobody can go out. And that's how they're being affected. So people there learn to eat sometimes twice a day. And they don't have the common staple food, which is rice in the Philippines. They just have this tapioca. We call it balinghoy in our place. And I also believe that if God can use, some people of whatever church doing this ministry to the little children, we here at Apple Valley have talents. We have talents to share the gospel message to these young people, these children, that Christ said, suffer the little children to come unto me. Don't prevent them. But we have seen problems among ourselves because we know that training of the children is a very complicated thing, right? Because sometimes we say something, but we do different things. And what is being caught by the children are our actions, it's not the words. So they're just, opposite to what Jesus said. Listen to this word, but don't follow their actions. But our children don't follow our words, but rather they follow our actions. Mrs. White pinpointed also the influence of the parents to the children. I remember the story of one of the kings of Judah, and this is the kind of king that have done so great evil, more than the evil being done by the people being driven away by God in the promised land. And his name was Manasseh. Manasseh was a king that made all Israelites to sin against God. And because of his sin, when he died, his position was taken over by his son Ammon. And the record says that Ammon became like his father, evil. So see the influence of the father to the son. But it's good enough that in 2 Chronicles chapter 33, we noted that Manasseh repented, though he was brought by the Assyrian power to Babylon as a captive. But because he realized that God is Lord, he came to his senses. The Lord brought him back to Jerusalem to be the king. So that is the kind of God that we're serving. It's a very gracious God. So there's a problem in dealing with our children. There's a problem in disciplining our children. It is not easy. It's not easy. One day, my eldest daughter, she's already grown up. She tried to ventilate her emotion and how the way we deal with her when she was still young. And she cannot just forget this. One day, I was so mad. And I spanked her. And that spanking, she never will forget. She was so hurt. And I said to her, I regretted that I have done that. And as a result of that spanking, I made a policy in the house that if you little children will commit a mistake, I am no longer going to spank you. But instead, you are going to spank me every time that you made a mistake. Because it hurts my feeling. After spanking the children, especially when my anger is so high, although the spirit of prophecy is telling us that we should not spank or discipline our children when you are at the height of your anger, right? Be calm and then talk to the children in a sensible manner so that they will understand. But I don't have that. That's the kind of problem that I have. And I don't know if some of you are sharing the same kind of problem when you were still, raising your children. And Jesus Christ said, suffer the little children to come unto me. Don't hinder them by your words, by your examples, by your actions. Let them come unto me. So brothers and sisters, if you're still raising the children, please take note that little children is very important in the eyes of God, because Jesus Christ said, for such is the kingdom of heaven. And I think how I wish I will be child forever, so that the kingdom of God will be mine. For such is the kingdom of heaven. So this Mark chapter 10 is loaded with stories that we can get lessons out of it. And if we move forward to the video, we can see the number of people that have decided to be baptized. I think you can fast forward it to the portion when there you go. So
His only Son, to make a wretch his treasure. How great the pain of searing loss! The Father turned his face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon a cross, my sin upon his shoulders. Ashamed I hear my mocking voice.
there is joy in heaven for one sinner who got repented, right? That's what the Bible is telling us. It's Jesus Christ's word.
It was my sin that held him there, until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished.
With God, nothing is
I
impossible.
will not boast in anything. No gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection.
We will
Why
find
should I
about
gain from his
67 souls, and
cannot
majority are already old and mature. A little few like 13 years old, 11 years old, and 10 years old. It's a nice feeling, when you're being used by the Lord in evangelizing and watching people change in the behavior because of the working of the Spirit. It is a fulfilling kind of experience. And how I wish that this kind of evangelistic result could be in our place. But it so happened that America is like a stony ground. America is like sowing in a place with so many thorns, It grows, the seed grows, but it is being choked by the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches. That's why in our church we could seldom baptize 20 in a year. We could seldom baptize even 15. Last year we only baptized how many? will baptize 4. So it depends upon the ground. So how I wish that you can experience, watching people, numbers of people being baptized because they have accepted Jesus Christ as their Savior. And Mark chapter 10 is a kind of book that has presented several kinds of problems and would bring us to the center of the chapter, which is verse 27, when it says that there's nothing impossible with God. With God, all things are possible. So now when we started reading the book of Mark, we have a segment of a story when the Pharisees approached Jesus Christ and asked about marriage. And Jesus Christ in that encounter told them that marriage is very important to God. He instituted it in the Garden of Eden. He blessed it. That's why Jesus quoted that statement in Genesis, what God had joined together, let no man put asunder. But look nowadays, marriage is being threatened. When you look at the statistics of divorce and family conflicts or marital conflicts that leads to separation, you will be astonished. You will be much more astonished when you discover that the divorce rate, based upon the study of the North American Division in our territory, picking up some samples of more than 1,000, we have discovered that the divorce rate among Seventh-day Adventists is much higher than the Lutheran Church and the Nazarene Church. So in other words, this is a problem. What can we do? There's marital conflict inside the homes. Counselors, marriage experts did nothing to solve the problem. And the rate of divorce is still getting higher and higher, even among the so-called Christian group. And it is very astonishing to note also that the rate of divorce is even more higher than Christians compared to non-Christians. For me, this is just an indication that Satan's focus is among those who claim to be Christians. He wanted to break the homes because a broken home means a broken heart of the children. And a broken heart of the children is a broken mind. And they have also found out that the most of those children that came out from a divorced family have also experienced divorce among themselves. It's a very staggering spectacle of today. This is a problem. But again, this problem has a solution, because Mark 10:27 is telling us, with God nothing is impossible. Take note of that. It's a very high problem, but with God nothing is impossible. In terms of dealing with our children, it's very complicated. It's a problem, but with God nothing is impossible. And then, after Christ discourses about the children, there's a man that rushed toward him and knelt before him. You can still find it in Mark chapter 10, and asked the question, "Good master, what shall I do in order that I can enter into the kingdom of God?" And Jesus Christ, when you looked at this individual, in verse 21, Jesus, beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, "What thing thou lackest? Go thy way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven." Christ loved him, and Christ had recognized one problem here. His heart is tied up with his treasure. We discovered that in the preceding chapters, because when Christ said, "Sell what you have and give to the poor," he went away from Jesus Christ because he had great possession. So indeed, what Christ said in his parable of the seed sown in Matthew chapter 13 becomes a reality in the life of this individual. the cares and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word. I have discovered I don't have plenty of money in the bank, but when I try to focus myself in trying to file up deposits on top of another deposits, when I withdraw money and spend it to something else and give it to something else, I observe that there's something strange I am feeling. And I said, this is not good. It seems to me that my heart is connected with treasure. This is not, I don't have plenty of money in the bank, but human as I am, who is not used to having, dollar. Just imagine when you work in the Philippines as a pastor, you will receive only during my time, the maximum wage of a pastor there is like 25,000 pesos. And that is a little more than $500 month. That's a month. So it's not 2 months. So when you're an individual that comes from the Philippines, come over here and receive like $1,000 a month, that's something. And that gives a kind of feel that I don't like. And Jesus Christ have seen in the life of this rich young man that he is entangled with his riches. He cannot just get out of it. Jesus Christ said, one day, no man can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and mammon. So Christ entreated him, go and sell your property and come and follow me and take up your cross. You cannot follow me. You cannot take up your cross and follow me. If your heart is not totally given to me, if you are divided in your spirit, you cannot serve God and mammon. And I'm telling you, I would like you to give your full heart to me. I don't like to share your heart with any other else. And we're supposed to understand that anything that stands between us and our God is our idol. Satan might be successful in getting in all the icons, the icons of the pagan people before into the church. He's very successful in doing that. But I believe that he is most successful in trying to put idols of mammon inside the church that stands between God and his people. This is a problem. But be of good cheer. The solution is there. Mark 10:27. Nothing is impossible with God. Another story by Jesus Christ. I forgot already to use another story projected by Jesus Christ in Mark chapter 10 was about position. James and John came to Jesus Christ and he said, Master, give to us whatsoever our heart desires. And Jesus Christ said, what is that? And he said, when we will be in heaven, let us sit, on your right and on your left. And Jesus Christ confronted them that it's not for me to give that. It's the Father's prerogative. Sometimes our prayer is not appropriate, right? And it's good enough that Jesus is, trying to give us. And this is what Christ wanted us to do. If you like to be great, we must serve just like Him. The last story that Jesus Christ said, that Mark 10, is about this Bartimaeus, the blind man. When they were ready to move out of Jericho, Bartimaeus was sitting beside the road, and when he knew that Jesus was coming, listen to what he said. Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. He knew he has a problem. And that problem is he cannot see. He knew that it is only Jesus that can heal him, because he knew that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. The God that Jesus Christ said, nothing is impossible with God. Isn't it right, brothers and sisters? When we have so great a problem in the midst of us, when we are being haunted by worries, anxieties that leads us sometimes to depression, even if we desire so much that we have our own church building, but after all that we have done, we end up to just renting. And this coming June 18, we have to have our meeting at the facility. We don't have a building. And sometimes hearts are frustrated. There are people that left our circle because of so much frustration. We thought that we can have that building, but it turned out to be the building is not for us. Isn't it right that we remember that all things is possible with God? He might not be giving us the building right now, because what is important, that's what you have said, our body is the temple of God. The people are the church of God. The building is nothing without the people of God. If there is love and unity among us, understanding, caring for one another among us, that is important. Not the building. We can just probably be meeting under the shade of the tree. And mind you, brothers and sisters, during the dark ages, as foretold in the prophecy, the people of God find their refuge in a secluded place. As termed in the Bible, in the world, the woman was helped. In the wilderness. So no more fancy building, no more soft benches. Probably we'll be sitting on a stone and leaning our back on the trunk of the tree. And I wish we cannot hear complaints and grumbling. I would like to go back to what church is this? Church of the Valley. Church of the Valley. It's our condition there. We cannot hear that anymore. Because our minds will be occupied by the idea that we're going home. Jesus Christ is coming again. So brothers and sisters, we have problems with our marriages. We have problems in dealing with our children. Do we have problems in terms of handling money? Do we have problems in terms of church organization? That we'd like to be here, we don't like to be there? Please take note. Such problems are real. And they are troubling us. And we cannot just get out of it by our own force or effort. Let's remember, God can do it, can help us. For nothing is impossible to God. Just like Bartimaeus, let's say, Son of David, please help us. Please help me. And have faith that the one who made the promise that He's going to help us is going to accomplish what He had promised. And Jesus Christ said to the blind man in the last verse of the chapter 10 of Mark, thy faith healeth thee. We can experience the power of all things is possible to God when we have faith in Him, when we have full trust in Him. It is my prayer that we have such trust.